And the lighting's so weird here because we're in a dark corridor outside the taqueria.
No problem.
Is this the fanciest place you've ever played in the Queers?
Yeah, but one of them, yeah. One of them for sure, yeah. Well, I thought Punk Rock Tacos, I had this all completely wrong. I was telling everybody back home in Atlanta, I was like, we're playing this, some guy's opening up a shop called Punk Rock Tacos, and we're the grand opening band for the first weekend and blah, blah, blah. And then I got it completely wrong. It's like, oh, dude, no, it's not quite like that. But anyway, my story is more exciting, I think.
I think you should treat it like a grand opening.
Yeah,
there should be balloon animals for the kids.
You're right, man. Shit, welcome to the place, whatever it's called, Cemitas Poblanos.
Cemitas Poblanos in Villa Park. Welcome to Con Carne. I'm James Van Oslo. Con Carne, presented by Alex Ross Art. Alex Ross, one of the true greats in comics and graphic novels. He has his own YouTube channel. Here's Alex Ross to tell you all about it.
Hi, this is Alex Ross. I appreciate you guys supporting our YouTube, and we create new content every week. I hope you will continue to support us, and please subscribe.
It's Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Oslo.
So I'm recording outside Cemitas Poblanos in Villa Park, North Avenue, home headquarters for Punk Rock Tacos, celebrating its opening night tonight with the Queers.
Yes.
Joe Queer is sitting next to me outside Cemitas Poblanos, Punk Rock Tacos. You're a headliner tonight for Punk Rock Tacos.
We've hit the big time here,
you
buddy.
Have hit the
We've
big time.
The big time.
Joe, 40 years later, besides the obvious not being as young as you used to be, let's say, is it easier or harder being an independent touring band in the present versus aughts, 90s, 80s?
Well, we didn't start touring till around 92 was probably our first tour with Screech and Weasel. So we would just play around Boston. So I find it easier now because, I don't know, it's just mainly because nobody's drinking or doing drugs and everybody's married and we all live a more sedate life. But I find it easier now for that reason, so.
Sobriety does change a lot of things.
Yes, yeah. So I don't miss any of that stuff. We made a lot more money. We grossed a lot more money and netted a lot less than we do now. So, yeah. But no, I enjoy it still. I've always enjoyed touring. I enjoy the energy. I enjoy booking the flights for the guys. And there's always something with music to get out of bed for in the morning. And I love that whole artist energy. And I've always, I still enjoy it. So
and you really do treat. I mean, this is your business. You do all the booking. I mean, you run everything.
Yeah, pretty much. We have a booking agent. Yeah, but I pretty much manage it with the guys. And I always enjoyed laughing. And so being in a band is just a great way to get a million laughs. And so I've really enjoyed it, and I enjoy it to this day. Not every minute's good, but,
right.
A lot of it is just, we have a lot of laughs. We have a great gang of guys. So I really enjoy it. And you're doing a job where you make new friends every tour you go out. You make new friends, see old friends. People cheer for more. It's really great. It's what I dreamt about doing in high school. So a lot of people say, you still tour? And I go, hey, man, I worked commercial fishing for a long time when I didn't tour. My brother still owns a commercial fishing boat. And after commercial fishing, this is like a day at the Playboy Mansion touring in the band, so none of that stuff bothers me. I really enjoy it, though.
Although you probably come home from certain clubs smelling just as bad.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I never thought about that, but yes, yeah, for sure. Yep.
As far as being a band in the present day goes, is the internet a force for evil or a force for good?
I think you could just take the whole internet and just blow it to hell, and the world would be a better place. That's my take on it. But there's good and bad, I guess, in it. But I just hate the anonymity of it. A lot of keyboard warriors out there saying shit, and but that they'd never say to your face. So yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I don't know. It's a weird time. So
I have those moments too where I'm like, oh, I just did all my holiday shopping. This is great. And oh, I just looked on their website. Oh shit, the world is ugly and horrible.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's a strange time. But I kind of keep my ear to the ground, and I'm so far to the left, I'm off the cliff. Liberal, I always say that, but I'm liberal with an open mind. I always want to hear, that's the punk rocker in me. I learned that from Joe Strummer in The Clash. It's like I always try to look at both sides of any argument. No matter how crazy I think it is, I want to listen and see why someone thinks this way or votes that way or whatever. And I always try to examine both sides of any argument, and I've always kept that. I think a lot of people just shut off, and they're just so close-minded these days that they can't believe there's a possible, people, they think if you don't think exactly like them, you're evil, and there's just, everything's so black and white to these people. But I always try to be a liberal with an open mind, and no matter how crazy the viewpoints are, I try to listen to people. So, but I think that comes from being in a band, and where we have fans that'll vote this way or vote that way, and I was like, really, you did that? But I talked to them, and it's really interesting, and that's how you learn about life. So.
I listening to you, it reminds me of hearing a lot of what I've heard Bill Maher say for the past couple of years.
Yeah, I like some of the stuff he says, and some stuff I don't like. I think I don't think I've changed at all. I think the liberal Democrats have changed a lot, but I don't think I've changed at all. But I get it behind the scenes from a lot of people who tell me this, that, and the other thing. And, I'm a closed book. I don't tell, publicize what people talk to me about and stuff.
Right.
So I've been surprised, and so it's interesting. But I always try to be teachable, and I try to keep an open mind. So
That's awesome. It's funny, as you're talking about being in a band and surrounded by people who make you laugh or inspire you every day. I no joke, just this morning watched on Netflix that Chris Rock and Kevin Hart documentary about the show they did in Brooklyn together. And I swear Kevin Hart said the same thing about being a comedian. Finding a job where he's surrounded by people who make him laugh every day and everyone's trying to out-creative each other. I mean, that's the arts.
Right. And I think now more than ever it's needed. And I love it. We're doing a job. You get to meet people. When I was in high school, I dreamt about going around the world and having friends and all this stuff through music, and now I get to do it. And I don't treat it lightly. I think it's great, but I think it's always, I try to walk on the sunny side of the street, and so I'm not too much of a negative person. My wife is kind of like that, but I'm not like that. I always try to look at the glass as always like half full, not half empty type of thing. And,
not always
and
easy.
I think I get that from music. So,
what does playing in front of Chicago or a Chicago area crowd mean to you? I mean, I know you kind of wing your set list, but this is probably one of your more sophisticated queers crowds. That'll probably want you to go deeper than, let's say, other cities.
Yeah, it's fun for me to walk through the crowd wherever we are, and I feel like I'm at my own house in my own studio or something. Like, hey Joe, even out back. Hey Joe, what's up, man? Hey, good to see you, bro. What's going on? And it's great, I mean, it's fun. So tonight, speaking of the set list, we've talked about doing some oddball songs, and I think we're going to do an oddball set than what we normally would play maybe at Reggie's or something like that. So we have fun, and if someone yells something out, we take it as a challenge to play, whatever, Janelle or Voodoo Doll or, I don't know, Steak Bomb and Drop the Attitude. I don't know. We'll wing it and see what happens. It makes it fun. Playing Chicago I always love. So we have a lot of good fans here.
I mean, I love the idea of just mixing it up every night and kind of reading the room, and I wish more bands did it. I realize punk rock gives you more flexibility than a stage show with pyro and lights and, everything's mapped out to the second. But as a fan, I want to be surprised. I don't want to go to setlist.fm and know what I'm in store for.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately with us, like if you don't play Ursula Finally Has Tits and Punk Rock Girls, there's always going to be a bunch of people complaining. However, we can always throw in different songs, read the room, and we got that from Dick Dale, watching Dick Dale, and they didn't have a set list, and I'm friends with Dusty Watson, Dick's drummer from back then. That's where I met him. We opened up for Dick Dale, and I was like, you guys don't have a set list? And he said, nope. Said some nights Dick will do Satisfaction and Jumpin' Jack Flash and Smoke in the Water, and some nights he'll do Miserlou, Pipeline, and Wipeout. We don't know. And I go, God, that's so cool. And so we kind of take it as a challenge, and everybody's on the same page. We have to stay on our feet. and keeps us on our toes. And so, yeah, it's a fun way to approach it and read the crowd and see where it's going. Some nights it's poppy, or some nights it's more hardcore type stuff. So, yeah, it makes it fun.
I want to talk about covers for a second. You turned up on that AC/DC tribute this year. You Shook Me All Night Long, which, I mean, covering AC/DC is tricky to start with because a lot of those songs are so familiar. But you made it a queer song, and so much so that it almost sounded more like the Jesus and Mary Chain than AC/DC.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands, Jesus and Mary Chain, for sure. And I was just talking to someone about that. Do you know them very well?
The Mary Chain? No.
Yeah. Great
I'm a fan. I mean,
Velvet Underground, Lou Reed, except for the Ramones, Lou Reed was the rock act I saw more than anybody else, believe it or not. Love the Velvet Underground. But John Cale was doing something. Lou Reed did something with Metallica.
Right.
And that doesn't even, I love Metallica, love Lou Reed, but together it's like, oh man, what I heard I thought sucked. Even though I love both
that
bands.
was a tragic way for Lou Reed to go out musically.
I thought so too, and I was like, and then John Cale was hooking up with some different acts, and I go, hook up with Jesus and Mary Chain. They're doing like the classic Velvet Underground stuff. Come on, man. Give them the time of day. They even have a song, Mo Tucker. They're so creative. It's unreal. And, but anyway, the AC/DC thing, we were just playing around with it and trying to have fun with it. We did our cover album, Reverberation, and we did like Be True to Your School and Dead Man's Curve. And
this is like the stuff from your childhood.
Right, but yet I changed part of it, and I tried to approach it as if I had written the song. And so how would I change it? And I did like a key change in... I think Dead Man's Curve and Be True to Your School, or I don't know. I'd have to listen to them right now. But I remember I added a different part and ending on Dead Man's Curve and on Be True to Your School. I changed it as if I wrote the song. Where would I take the song? So AC/DC, we didn't do too much with it, but it was, trying to make it, more of a queers type song. So yeah, it was fun though. So
I do love Reverberation. Your version of Strychnine's great.
Yeah, that was great. Dusty Watson, the guy I just told you about, the drum with Dick Dale, he's drumming with the Sonics. They're not playing too much anymore, but he was drumming for him, and so that's why we did that. But the Sonics were such a classic band, so some of that was fun. I had other songs I wanted to do. I wish we had changed it around a little bit, but anyway, that was a fun little project for sure. But yeah, Strychnine, that was a fun one, man. We got to start playing that one live.
Yeah, you do.
That.
What do you think about, have you heard other bands cover the queer songs? For instance, New Bomb Turks, Boll Weevils, both of them covered This Place Sucks.
Yeah, that's cool. Teen Generate did Kicked Out of the Weeblos, Japanese band there. I don't know, but through the years, there's been some good covers. Mainly it's smaller bands just under the radar, kind of throw off versions of our songs, but I'm kind of waiting for like Blink-182 or Green Day or someone like that to cover one or something. I swear some of our poppy stuff I could hear like a bigger act doing.
100%. That'll put a new roof on your house.
Yeah, exactly, which I need to. And so I don't know. I just wanted to hear a band, take these songs where I don't think they've gone. Some of them have gone as far as they can musically. I love to hear a bigger production. Matter of fact, we were going to do a best of album for Cleopatra Records, and we're going to approach it as if Phil Spector produced it and go do Deborah Jean and Punk Rock Girls as if it was like 1966 at Gold Star Studios, and try to do kind of end of the century Phil Spector production on, because you got to remember, like, we would tune up and do one take of Deborah Jean. There was no click track or Pro Tools and all that, and we just did it, and that was it. And we drank a beer and we got on to the next song, and we didn't do layer wall of sound, and the songs didn't go anywhere where they could, as far as they could have. And so we're still thinking about maybe doing that. I don't know if I can, but I thought it would be cool to hear like a Phil Spector type production on that. So,
well, when you record, I realize budget kind of drives a lot of that, but when you record, do you consider yourself like a non-perfectionist to the point where it's like, let's just get it to where it makes sense, and let's not fine tune this to death? Let's just get it out there.
Well, on the last album, Save the World, which I think is one of our top 3, Love Songs, Don't Back Down, Save the World. Those are the 3, start to finish. I think we nailed it on all 3 of those albums. On that, it was in COVID, during COVID, so I had a lot of time to come up with back vocals and stuff. For instance, Hong Fucking Kong, we did the song, and the guys are like, oh, that's good. I go, no, it's not there. It's too basic. It's not going to make it. And then one day I came up with this. I was in the studio, and I go, ooh, ba, ba, ooh, ba, ba, ooh, ba, 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 ooh. And then I started singing this, and I came up with this back vocals. And I go, oh, man. And then all of a sudden, it's like my favorite song in the album almost. Same with, because of the back vocals, I'm saying. And then same with If I Had a Girl Like You. I did it. It was too basic. And then I did the back vocals, and that's where the whole challenge comes from. But no, I don't have a problem like going overboard. I've been with people who want to keep doing harmony vocals. They'll be in key, but they're not needed. So you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. But I don't feel that way too much. Oftentimes with us, I don't feel we've taken the song as far as it could go. So, and to where I'm happy. So anyway, that's usually I've got my own studio, so we've got a couple of songs we didn't finish from Save the World that we thought would be the 2 best songs, and we didn't even finish them because we didn't get them done correctly. We could have put them out. I go, no, we've got to do these right. So I'm excited to work on those, and we're gonna start. I'm working on songs for a new album, but I'm really trying to top Save the World, which I really consider a great album. If we had done that thing in like 1995, it would be considered one of our best albums, if not the best one. But our albums don't have the impact with the crowd now just because we've been playing so long. But anyway, we'll see.
Young, Dumb, and Into Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I got that from someone said that to me, and I go, oh, that'd be a funny song title.
Which, by the way, that band still kills.
Iron Maiden, yeah. Well, yes, I agree. And but also like Hong Fucking Kong and Young, Dumb, and Into Iron Maiden, I'm proud that I could, or say Do Kanamoko, I'm proud that I could take those, and I'll have people come up and go, I see the song title, and I think, how in hell are they going to make that into a song? And I'm proud of like doing Young, Dumb, and Into Iron Maiden and Hong Fucking Kong. That was one my buddy Joe said, how? I saw the title, I said, no way he can pull this off, and you did it. So anyway, yeah.
It's like a Food Network challenge. Okay, you've got a stalk of celery, a bar of chocolate, and a radish. Make it into a birthday
meal.
cake.
Right, yeah. There you go. Yeah. But Young, Dumb, and Into Iron Maiden, I want to start playing that one. It was kind of a little takeoff of Punk Rock Girl by
Dead Milkman.
Yeah, Dead Milkman. And almost at the end, I was going to say, right at the very end of the song, I was going to, hey, love you, Punk Rock Girl. I was just going to add that in, but I didn't know. Figured What's-His-Face wouldn't mind. But anyway, yeah, the whimsical tongue-in-cheek songs, they're fun to do. So,
punk rock's fun.
Yeah, right. I mean, a lot of these bands now, it's just studio-created bullshit, overproduced bullshit, and I think the Mariah Careys and Taylor Swifts and all these big acts, that's one thing, but in punk rock I'm really bummed out because a lot of these bands think if they go to this studio or that studio and they work with this producer and they get this big huge sound and this big production, it somehow makes a mediocre half-baked song better. And on Save the World, I deliberately said, let's do a follow-up album to Love Songs, as if it's on tape, and we're not going to auto-tune everything. And I knew there was some noises here and there, and we could have done a big production. I run a studio. I could do it. I said, no, let's keep it as if it's honest and it's on tape. And we did the solos all together, and we didn't paste them and edit them and all that stuff, and we didn't use auto-tune. And it keeps us honest. So anyway, a lot of these bands will go into these studios and they think, oh man, I'm at the blasting room and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey dude, I love the blasting room, but like, it's not going to make a mediocre song better. And I think so many bands are hiding behind the fact that they're like, oh, we got this big production. And I go, listen to Black Flag Damage, dude. There's a killer album right there. Or the first Ramones album, our first 3 Ramones album. The Ramones had great production, I thought, always. Mm-hmm. But anyway, The Clash or whatever, Sex Pistols. It's real stripped down, probably 1-inch 8-track, and I just think a lot of punk rock bands are kidding themselves. Joey Ramone told me, always be your own worst critic, know if he said, I know if I've got a good song or a bad song, and be honest with yourself. But some of these bands, they think, I'm going to go to this studio or that studio and this guy, but I don't think they're working the songs enough. They just sell themselves short. So I'm really bummed out with a lot of these punk albums now. It's just overproduced bullshit. I mean, I'm a songwriter, so I want to hear that song and just like go, whoa, dude, that's fucking great. I wish I wrote that. That's amazing. But I don't hear that stuff too much. So anyway, that's my rant about the studios. But I just think a lot of producers see in studios, a lot of these guys now think they record drums to a click track. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll use a click track in the studio, but I always tell my bands, consider it like the band director I had back growing up when I played trumpet in the band, Mr. Muchmore. He's the band director, so he was our click track right there, and he just kept beat, and then we just moved on. That was it. It's not all about this click track thing. But these guys will record drums to a click track, and then they'll go back and they'll quantize and edit and snap to the grid and make this stuff, and it's like a drum machine.
Yeah.
And, would
it
Smoke in
becomes
the
a crutch.
would Smoke in the Water have been better if it was snapped to the grid? Of course not. Or Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. You know what I mean? Like all these songs, the Ramones, none of them used a click track. The Stones, Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed, motherfucker, man, those are great albums. But I think people are so caught up with this, and it's infiltrated punk rock, this whole make it perfect, every hair in place, auto-tune vocals and all that shit. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Where's the spirit and kind of get the good vibe?
Oh my God.
So anyway.
I think that's true of every creative industry. My background is broadcast radio, and the last radio job I had was the first one where the station had voice tracking. And I was used to doing...
what's that? What do you mean voice tracking?
Where you pre-record your breaks as a disc jockey
Yeah.
and play them in front of and on the other side of songs. It was my first experience with that. I'd only ever done live radio.
I got you. Okay.
And I remember the program director when I started at the station saying, oh, you're going to love it. You're going to have perfect breaks. You'll never have a bad break. I'm like, people remember the bad breaks and the recoveries.
Yes.
That makes you human. That's what makes you a personality. Like, to your point, like, I don't want to hear perfection. I want to hear something that's fucking real.
Realism, right? Yes, yeah, and right, everything's so mechanical and perfect and all this stuff, AI and all that stuff, and it just, I don't know, I don't know. So I know people would Save the World. It's a great album, but I think some of the fans were a little taken aback because it was so stripped down. But I made the album. I wanted to make trite as that sounds. But I wanted to make a follow-up album as if it was on Lookout Records in 1995. That's what I wanted to do. And the energy is there, and the innocence, and the songs are great, and so I was really happy with that. But I don't know, that whole overproduced bullshit in punk rock, I'm really against. These bands spend money, and they, oh, well, you got to take 3 days off so we can edit the drums. I go, you just fucking recorded great drums to a click track. What the fuck are you doing? It's a waste of time and money. Oh, it drives me crazy. And then you get a mediocre half-baked song at the end of it anyway. But they think because they got big production that somehow it it's going to be a memorable song. So I don't know. But
you mentioned Joey Ramone. In addition to taking your surname from the band, another thing I think you have in common with Joey Ramone, you're a huge music guy. Like I hear it. Like even the offhand Kenny Rogers reference you made earlier. Like, you're a music nerd, for no better way to say it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love music. It was something funny when I was first growing up. My friends had a turntable and they had a vinyl record, 16 Tons by, I think, Tennessee Ernie Ford, and we would listen to that over and over. And then we had Batman single. I remember that, and I would listen to that at home. And it was like always, and Brian Wilson said he did that too. But one thing about Joey, I wasn't best friends with him or anything, but I realized getting to know him the little bit I did, what got him out of bed in the morning was the next great song. He loved music. He was still excited about music. After all he had done, he was still so excited about music. And I try to keep that too, writing songs, and I'm excited to get this next album done. But I get excited about doing, coming out and doing these shows, just as excited as if we were going out to tour with Blink 182 or something like that. You know, I just love doing it, the energy and stuff. And so, yeah, but I love music, and I love listening to different types of music. I'll listen to CSS from Brazil, or, you know, listening to, who was I listening to back in the 1910 and 1920s and stuff from way back then. I'll listen to how this song was put together. ELO, I listen to a lot of them. I love Jeff Lynne and the way he puts songs together and chord changes I would never think of.
Now, ELO's a case for overproduction.
Yeah, but yet I think, yeah, he's pretty good at it, though. Jeff Lynne, I thought he got everything to fit together. I'm pretty impressed. Knowing that a lot of the stuff, like, say, their 1981 album, Time, which is my favorite, they did that on tape, you know, and you're like, good Lord. I listened to the raw tracks from Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. My buddy Les was in a big band, and anyway, somehow through Rick Beato, he got the raw tracks for Bohemian Rhapsody, 24 tracks. And he was playing it for me, and you can kind of hear, you know, the kick drum and the snare and all that stuff, and you get such an appreciation for the mix of and how that was a performance in itself. They must have had like 12 guys working faders back then, and it was really like a performance itself, the mixes, and really incredible looking back. And I mean, I don't know as people could recreate it now with Pro Tools. To think they did it on tape, but that was part of the musicality of the whole project, was like, you know, they're working with their limitations and overcoming them and making this incredible music. Bridge Over Troubled Waters, I heard Simon and Garfunkel, they needed some echo and they couldn't get it, so someone figured out if they got 2 tape machines and they put it like 3 feet and 1.5 inches apart, so they'd play it here and the playback would go on both machines, they'd get this incredible echo, and they figured that out, you know what I mean, too. And it's the record plant or something, it must have been so fun coming up with that shit back in the day. But I think that's the difference between the Queers. Like, a lot of it's like, for us, we had to earn everything. When we started the Queers, like, you know, we would buy a cymbal for Hugh. I spent my last penny on the band many times. I didn't even have cable at home. My girlfriend hated me because I was buying a cymbal for Hugh, and the Queer, you know, this is like 1990, and we weren't doing anything, no dreams of being on a label or anything. But we earned everything we got. We got a two 15-inch speaker bass cab, and then we got B-Face, a Yamaha B3000 or H3000 bass. I remember that was so exciting. A Yorkville bass, you know, I got a Marshall amp, and we built it up. So we really appreciated what we got. We built it up. There was no safety net under us. I think Weasel was like that. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Green Day was like that. And I think that's the difference between a lot of bands these days and what we had. It was either Welcome to Burger King, May I Take Your Order, or Paper or Plastic Ma'am, or punk rock, you know. And now it's like, well, you know, whatever. You know, the band doesn't make it, I'll just go back to school, and, you know, my parents gave me a gold card, and there's a safety net under them, and they're only going to fall so far, whereas before it's more of a life decision. You know, these guys, Flipper, man, these guys were the real deal, man, you know, back in the day. And so I think that's a big difference between now and back then. So,
all right, Joe Queer, the Queers, they're playing tonight. If you're watching this or listening to this, it's too late, but we'll see you again in Chicago. I mean, that's a given.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
2024.
We're working on a bunch of tours already next year with Sloppy Seconds, Coughing Cats, Dwarves, Guttermouth. I don't know what's going on, man. I can't. There's always something going on with the band.
Yeah.
So,
So we will see. If you missed it tonight, don't worry. Joe will be back, we promise. And there's the promise of new music, too.
yes, sir. We will hopefully have a new album out by then. At least we'll have it recorded by the time we get back here in the spring, I'm sure.
All right, go get yourself a taco.
Yes.
And maybe an horchata, which I find delightful with the taco.
A what?
It's like that rice water, the Mexican rice water. It's delicious. It's like drinking rice pudding.
Horchata? Oh, really? Jeez, I don't know that.
Well,
okay, I'll
welcome
try
to
one.
Cemitas Poblanos. We'll get you an horchata.
I hope, is there any alcohol in there? I
There's
hope
no alcohol.
not. I don't want to start dancing on the tables or anything here.
We want you to start dancing on the tables. Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you, James. Good to meet you, and we will see you next time.